Hey Tommy, have you wondered what it's like to live with the brand new Santa Cruz? This little compact truck that Hyundai kind of finally rolled out this year and introduced into a segment that didn't exist for like 10 years, and that is the small truck. You know, when this first came out, everybody was super excited. Then it took them like 5 years to roll it out. And then finally, when they did roll it out, the Maverick came out as well. So let's talk about our experiences after owning it for a month and putting on 1,000 miles.
So we've got this little truck for a full year, and in this video we're going to talk about the good and the bad that we've learned and all the things that you need to know, and we'll continue using it and then update you periodically throughout the year when we have more miles on it.
Yeah, so I was really worried about this, Tommy, because I wasn't sure about the styling, I wasn't sure about the off-road ability, I wasn't sure about the utility, I wasn't sure about the power, but now that we've had it over 1,000 miles, I'm sure about a lot of it, and I'm sure about one thing, Tommy. I love this truck. It's really cool.
So this model is the turbo engine. So there are two different engine options. There's the standard one, and then there is the turbo model. And the standard one's 2.5 liters. The turbo one is 2.5 liters with your little speed snail bolted on the side of it. Now this is a really fun little engine, and it's actually one of the big surprises of this vehicle. It's actually really, really fast. So 281 horsepower, tons and tons and tons of torque. And it really does rocket down the road. You can pretty much beat anyone out of a stoplight if you need to kind of zig into a turn or zag around the bend, but lots of oomph behind the wheel of the Santa Cruz.
You know, I kind of feel like the Maverick is getting all the love right now because it's more of a trucky truck, right? It's more traditional. This is more of a lifestyle truck. You know, this is the truck that the surfer would want, whereas the Maverick is a truck that the, I don't know, farmer slash rancher would like. But I disagree. I think this is just as utilitarian. It just looks a little bit funkier. And I'll start with one number that is pretty staggering. You know, we're getting 27 mpg combined driving this around city and highway, which is not as great, of course, as the 40 plus that the Maverick gets, but this is all-wheel drive, and it is freaking fast.
Well, I do think that there is a little bit of a different audience for this vehicle because the Maverick is much more affordable from a starting MSRP than the Santa Cruz, but then the Santa Cruz feels much more premium, much more upscale than the Maverick. So the qualities of the materials on the insides, much better even on this SCL Premium compared to like a Lariat Ford. It's just a better place to spend time. I feel that the connectivity is better in the Hyundai as well. So lots of pros over the Ford. I also love the styling. It's super funky. I love these integrated daytime running lights through the grille with the separate headlights down below. I really love this desert tan color. I think it looks truly fantastic. Now this is the second from the top trim. So it's like SC, SCL, SCL Premium, and then Limited.
So we're looking at about a $35,000 vehicle. So it's not, you know, inexpensive, but thing I got to talk about these lights, you'd think that they're you know, too far down, right? But I've been driving it at night, and sometimes I actually get flashed by oncoming cars because they think that my brights are on when they're really not. That's how bright they are. That's how good they are.
So when you look at the wheels on this model, 18-inch wheels, so the Limited is going to have a bigger wheel, but I love the wheel design on this. I think it's pretty cool, and it means you have a pretty chunky sidewall, which gives it a nice on-road ride. But yeah, 245/60 R18, and this is a Kumo tire. And then lots of weird, kind of crazy little features throughout the Santa Cruz, like these little triangles, the little Santa Cruz emblem there on the fender flares. Now this vehicle is of course related to the Hyundai Tucson. They've done a bunch of stuff though to kind of improve it over the Tucson, like it's got an old school shifter instead of the buttons. And yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, originally the plan was when we got this for a long-term review, we were going to turn it into an overlander, but then because we got the dual clutch 8-speed transmission and the bigger engine, we thought, you know what, let's not turn everything that we ever get into an overlander or an off-roader. Let's just use it as a shop truck, right? Let's just keep it for a year and use it for the way that most people would use it and find out if it works as just a regular small truck. And so, for instance, today we're taking our Porsche, our classic Porsche, to get new tires. Thank you to our friends at Firestone, right?
Yeah, exactly. These are the Firehawk tires, Indy 500, so these are getting mounted. But we use this truck a lot, especially with the ranch, moving stuff around. It's hauled tons and tons of tires, it's hauled wood, it's hauled rakes and shovels and stuff. And the way I look at this, now Hyundai advertises this as a sport adventure vehicle,
Yep.
right, an SAV. I look at this as just a far superior SUV.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, think about it as an Outback without the back.
Yeah, and it's perfect for that. So I mean, it's not something that you'd go hauling, huge hay bales and rocks from the quarry in per se. But what it is useful for is if you've got like dirty boots, if you've got big pokey items that you don't want like tearing upholstery, you slap it back in the rear. You never think about it once.
And you've got unlimited space above it, so you're not running into the problem with having like a crossover or a station wagon, right? Where you have to like jam something in here. There's tons of space. The other great thing about it, like you said, is you could put dirty stuff in here. You know, they've kind of copied Chevy with this foot placement where you can get up here. It's got a really useful tent-out cover that actually locks. So
well, didn't the design lead for this vehicle out of California, didn't he come from the Silverado program?
He did not, no. The design lead came from the BMW X5, Chris, my friend.
On the Santa Cruz?
Yes. Oh wait, no, on the Santa Cruz he did come from the Silverado.
I think so.
Yeah, Chris was his friend. Sorry, you're
yeah,
right.
I think that's not a coincidence there. Now this model does have the tonneau.
Yeah, which I
cover
like.
Incorporated, and it's lockable, which is cool. We've used this a ton. Now it does certainly take away from some of the usability of the bed because
Yeah, like right now, look, you can't close it.
Yeah, and it does stick out, a little bit beyond. It's ratcheted in right now, which is why it's not fully retracting. But I think it is a good thing to have just on a daily basis. But yeah, like for stuff like we've been hauling a lot of shovels and rakes and stuff around.
And you can see the dirt in here, right? It's great. This it's plastic, right?
Why is that rust? Where did that come from? What were you hauling in here?
Something rusty, apparently. I forget what I was hauling.
Oh, it was probably hauling some car parts or something.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
rusted out there. Now, we haven't really found much of a use for the underbed storage.
No, it's supposed to be like for like wetsuits if you're surfing, but
Although, if you did want like a jump box, a ratchet strap, if you wanted a toe strap, it's a good spot
and
for
there's
it.
a problem with it, right? When you put something in there, you can't open it, right?
Yes, but the good news is I think the spare is accessed from underneath.
Yep, just like a real old
So,
American truck.
one other cool thing about this, which is something I think a lot of people don't realize, is that they actually have a really trick rear suspension on this.
Yes.
And it's got a almost like
Self-leveling.
but it's done in a very mechanical way. So it's not an air suspension, but there's actually a self-leveling mechanism in the rear end. So even when we've had this thing loaded with like 500, 800,000 pounds in it, it always rides level, which is cool.
Yeah, and two things I think are important here. I just said like an American truck. This is an American truck. It's actually built in America.
Yep.
Which is cool. And I think it's got an incredible amount of payload, 1,400 pounds if I recall.
Yeah, and it does have a lot of towing, so 5,000 pounds of towing. Now we do probably want to get a
Tow hitch for it.
a receiver installed. I think that would be a pretty cool
Did
thing.
you see this little Easter egg?
Lots of Easter eggs.
Lots of Easter eggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things we've been doing, and let me show you, this has been becoming a lifesaver, is we've been using it to haul around, our dog Blazy, and we partnered with WeatherTech, and why don't you show them? We put the WeatherTech seat saver on, and that's really saved us
Well,
the back seats.
he's a Bernese mountain dog, and he has a tendency to shed, and this is a great thing. It's super easy to clean out. And then we also have the mats in there, which has been really good too. Now, this is the SEL Premium, so it doesn't have the leather upholstery. Instead, it's got almost this like neoprene-like finish, and it's a very easy material to clean. Certainly one of the highlights of the interior
Hey, why don't
are
you show
these cloth seats.
that back window, which I love.
Yeah, it's got the little retractable rear window. It's pretty cool. And then I think there is also some under-seat storage as well. So, Dad, you want to hop in the front seat, and I'll hop in the passenger, and we'll go for a ride?
Yeah, sure
it.
thing. I'll move my seat up for you. Don't worry, I'll move my seat up for you. Here you go. You can get back there.
You go.
I love that little back seat because for all you non-truck people, if you open up this window over here and the back window, you get this really great breeze blowing through the vehicle. So we have a sunroof, traditional, not big.
Yep, and then this is an interesting thing. So this is the SEL Premium, and what that means is we don't have the full giant display like you'd get in the Limited, and this screen is actually better than the Limited screen because you have both volume and two knobs.
Look what I'm listening to, our podcast.
Yep, and you also have wireless Apple CarPlay. So if you get the big screen, you don't get the wireless Apple CarPlay.
And if you guys love kind of TFL and you want to get behind the scenes, check out our podcast. It's at tfl-studios.com where we have all of our videos. We just upgraded that website. It's really good. So our podcasts, our TikToks, everything's up there. Yeah, I agree, Tommy. I love the tuning knob. I love the volume knob, and I love this. This is great too.
Now, one thing I don't like at all is all the piano black finish.
Yeah, it gets really dusty and dirty
and
very
then
easily.
way too easily. And then the screen does have a tendency to wash out a little bit in direct sunlight. Now, this model also has the fully digital gauge cluster as well, so no mechanical gauges. That doesn't have a screen, a little hood on it, but it doesn't wash out too bad.
No, it's not too bad. And I do love the fact that we do have like some pretty good camera views, right? So that one is a backup camera, and you can change the views.
You can look down. It's got a backup camera.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that's looking straight down, right? How do I get out of here? Hit the camera button again.
Yeah.
Let me hold on. How about this one? What does that one do?
That's just some settings you can play with.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have the full surround view.
We don't have the surround view. Well, I won't be backing up into the wall back there. So I love the steering wheel. It's nice and fat and leathery, which is wonderful. I also never use the paddle shifters. So, you know, manufacturers seem to put those on. They're obligatory now. Look at this, Tommy. We're getting 27.3 mpg.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty phenomenal.
1,100 miles in the first month.
I would say the fuel tank's a little small.
It is a little bit small. What is it, like 17 gallons?
Yeah.
17.7, I think.
You'd be lucky to get 300 miles on a tank, which is kind of standard, but I like, you know, with trucks to get more because trucks are obviously used for transporting things across state lines, and so when you're on the highway, it's good to have a little bit more range.
I think our math is a little questionable there, Dad.
Okay, why is your math questionable?
Well, because 17 times 27 is 400.
Well, while I talk, you want to Google how big the tank is?
I'm almost positive it's 17.7 because I looked it up once.
The other thing I love about this vehicle is that it doesn't have like a lot of nanny things, right? Like I was able to turn off the lane keep, and it's not trying to turn itself back on all the time.
17.7.
There you go. It doesn't make me want to try to log into the screen. You know, it actually works as a truck, which is nice.
Now it also has some rather interesting choice in the safety tech, right? So it does have, like, I believe it has automatic emergency braking.
It does.
It has lane centering, which is a fantastic thing on a road trip. It'll keep you right in the middle of the lane, but it doesn't have adaptive cruise control.
Yeah, it's weird.
So usually the hierarchy is like safety gear, then adaptive cruise control, then lane centering. But this vehicle is lane centering with no adaptive. I think you have to jump up to the limited for that.
But we do have blind spot monitoring.
Which is fantastic. Yep, love it. And the ride is very good. It's not too floaty, not too firm. I'm still not sold on the dual clutch.
Yeah.
It really rips shifts, so once you're up to cruising speed, second, third, fourth, fifth, I mean, it just bombs through the shifts. But when you're slow speed maneuvering, it still doesn't feel as good. It doesn't give you as much control as a torque converter.
It was an interesting choice for Hyundai to put a dual clutch into a truck. Certainly not something I would have thought of doing.
It does have a very capable wireless charger, though.
I would have rather seen like a traditional torque converter. At least they didn't go CVT, right?
Well, you get the torque converter if you get the non-turbo.
Non-turbo, yeah. All right, so we also have heated seats, which is nice. But let me get on the road here and I'll floor it so you guys can see just how quick this guy is. Okay, just get a little bit of open road here, and you know that is very quick, Tommy. And I'm already doing the speed limit.
Right. It's got a very meaty power band, kind of right around like 2,500 to 5,000 is where you get a lot of that boost and a lot of that torque. But it really does chug along nicely. Now, I do want to talk about the wireless charger really quickly.
It heats up your phone.
Yes, but it charges like hell.
I know.
I mean, most wireless chargers kind of piddle along, but this one really shoves a lot of energy into your battery.
I was coming back from the ranch yesterday. It's about a 25-minute ride, and I was down to like 10%. By the time I got home, my phone was on fire, and it was at 90%.
It wasn't literally on fire.
No, but it was hot. It's putting in
Yes,
a lot of
we
power into the phone. The other thing it has is really great wireless Apple CarPlay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you love your Apple CarPlay or your Android Auto, we have it.
There you go.
Yeah, really easy to use. All right, Tommy. So I kind of feel like this vehicle, this trucklet, is not getting the love that people probably would appreciate because everybody's kind of talking about the Maverick, right? The Maverick has sucked all the air out of the room, but this is, I think, as good in a very different way, but just as good, just as cool, and just as fun. It's obtainable, unlike the Maverick, which basically is sold out right now.
Well, what Ford did really well was the pricing and the standard hybrid.
Yep.
And I think that's where Hyundai probably did lose some sales compared to the Ford. But I like the design more on this, I like the towing capacity more on this, and I definitely love the interior more on this.
Yeah, and you know, you can get a Tucson with the hybrid, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they put the hybrid into the Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that'd be really, really cool. But overall, it's been a fantastic month. It's proven to be much more useful than its specs.
And youthful.
And youthful than its specs would first suggest. And we can't wait to do more with it because we got a lot coming up.
Yep, and thank you as always. Check out TFL Car, but go to tfl-studios.com for more news, views, and of course, real world reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.